Let me tell you about Sarah, a story that'll make you question just how far some people will go for money. Growing up in Beverly Hills, she had everything handed to her on a silver platter. Designer clothes, luxury cars, and a platinum credit card that seemed to have no limit. But when her father's business went bankrupt, her perfect world came crashing down. Most teenagers would have learned to adapt, maybe get a part-time job or adjust their lifestyle, but not Sarah. At 19, she'd never worked a day in her life and wasn't about to start now. That's when she met Harold at one of those charity galas she still managed to attend. Harold was 73, recently widowed, and worth millions. While other guests saw a grieving man who'd lost his wife of 40 years, Sarah saw dollar signs. She didn't care about the 54-year age gap or the whispers behind her back. All she cared about was his insurance policy and investment portfolio. The way she played it was almost artistic, in a twisted sort of way. She'd show up at his country club, perfectly timing her appearances when he was there. She'd laugh at his dated jokes, touch his arm just so, and look at him with those practiced doe eyes that she'd perfected over years of manipulating her own father. It took her just 3 months to get Harold to propose. The wedding was a quiet affair. Not because they wanted it that way, but because Harold's children refused to attend. They saw right through Sarah, but their father was too lovesick to listen. His friends tried to warn him too, showing him articles about young gold diggers marrying wealthy older men. But Harold would wave them off, convinced that what he and Sarah had was real love. The prenup? Well, Sarah managed to convince Harold that signing one would mean he didn't trust her. Trust is the foundation of love, she'd say, batting those eyelashes while his lawyer watched in horror as Harold declined any legal protection. What makes this story even more disturbing is how Sarah would brag about her scheme to her equally morally bankrupt friends. "It's just a few years of my life," she'd say over cocktails, "and then I'll be set forever." She'd already researched the best nursing homes, planning for the day when Harold would become too much of a burden. The saddest part? Harold truly believed he'd found love again. He'd write her poetry, buy her jewelry, and tell everyone how blessed he was to have a second chance at happiness. Meanwhile, Sarah was secretly meeting with financial advisors, planning how to invest her future inheritance. This isn't just about money. It's about the complete absence of conscience. Sarah didn't see a human being in Harold. She saw a walking bank account with an expiration date. She'd check his blood pressure medications with the same enthusiasm others might check their stock portfolio. The story is still unfolding. Harold's health has been declining recently, and Sarah's already renovating their beach house, with money from his accounts, of course. She's planning her future as a wealthy widow, while her husband of 2 years fights for every breath. You might be wondering why I'm sharing this story. It's because sometimes the most important lessons about humanity come from seeing its darkest sides. Sarah's story isn't just about gold digging. It's about what happens when we value wealth over human dignity, when we let greed consume every moral fiber in our being. And perhaps the most chilling part? There are more Sarahs out there, calculating, watching, and waiting, seeing people not as human beings but as opportunities. It's a reminder to all of us that true wealth isn't about money. It's about maintaining our humanity, even when facing the temptation not to.